You are listening to the So Now What podcast with Lana Manikowski, episode number 191. So now what? These three words raced through my mind time and time again during my journey through fertility treatments. I tried desperately to have a child, but never was able. I yearned for a community to join that could understand my struggles. I couldn't find one, so I created one with the So Now What podcast. I love that you found us. Have you ever walked into a room, taken one look around, and thought, I'm not sure I fit here anymore? Everyone's laughing, everyone's catching up, talking about their kids, mom schedules, their chaos, and you're standing there present, smiling politely, but also hovering 2 inches outside of the circle and just wondering, how did I get here? And why something that used to feel so safe and natural, how does it now feel like you're watching from the outside in? If you're childless after infertility or in the midst of your fertility journey, that moment absolutely hits differently. And today, I want to help you understand why. And more than that, I want you to walk away knowing how you can reconnect with yourself so you can feel grounded and confident, even around people where your story looks different. So first, let's get something straight. You are not imagining the shift. When your life does not follow that same timeline as people or the experiences that you have are different, your social spaces absolutely change. But here's the thing a lot of people don't know. They don't have to change forever, and sometimes they do, and that's okay. And here is the one piece that nobody ever tells you. How you see yourself when you walk into those rooms becomes the biggest indicator of how you are going to feel when you are in them. You can walk in thinking, I'm not going to fit in. I am the odd person out. Everyone is moms. And your brain is going to spend the whole time collecting evidence to prove that correct. That is what our brains do. Or you can walk in with more of a grounded knowing that my path looked different. I may not have kids like everyone else has in this room, but my presence matters here. And we're doing all this not because you're trying to be positive with this toxic positivity stuff that you guys know I hate, not because you're pretending to be comfortable, because that version of you, the one who knows that she has worth just by existing, deserves to lead the way into that room. All right, so let's paint the picture. You walk into a gathering, and before you've even taken your coat off, someone is talking about a school fundraiser. Someone else is coordinating carpools. Someone is passing around baby pictures, and your nervous system goes bonkers. And you find yourself asking, okay, where do I find my plug in here? Where do I learn to add something to the conversation? So if this is something that you can relate to, you're not being dramatic, you're not being sensitive. Your brain is simply noticing that the conversation unfolding in front of you does not match the life that you're living. So your throat tightens up. Maybe you feel like your body is tightening up, and you can stop assuming the discomfort means that something is wrong with you. What is happening is your brain is trying to answer one simple question. Is there a place for me here? And when the surface level conversation doesn't reflect your reality, it jumps into this warning, 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 I probably don't fit here. But the conclusion that you're coming up with isn't truth. It's just what happens when you are in a room where your chapter is not being spoken about out loud. The stories you're hearing don't match yours. So let's go a little bit deeper. And I want you to hear this with the utmost gentleness. You might be in raw grief. Some of you listening might have just learned that you've reached the end of your fertility treatment options. Some of you might be stuck in this whirlwind of what's next because your clinic isn't offering one single resource when IVF isn't resulting in the baby that you're trying so hard to create. And some of you are terrified to choose your next step because you are exhausted from trying to do the right thing. And while everyone around you has an opinion about what you should be doing next, you're trying to figure out what is going to be next. And you carry all of that into social situations, trying to be skillful about it because infertility trained you to become invisible. And meanwhile, the world has its opinions. We have all recently seen it with Jennifer Aniston when she was interviewed on that podcast episode and she talked about her heartbreak around her fertility journey and not wanting to become a mom unless it was through a biological child. She shared how painful everything was for her, and instantly the public decided to jump in and dissect her choices like it was a sport. And if someone with her platform gets criticized for their truth, imagine the mental gymnastics that the woman like you or me feels like they need to go through to protect herself. So you can understand why when you walk into rooms, you're already bracing. So you can understand why you scan for safety before you even sit down. And hopefully you can understand why sometimes you feel left out before the first sentence is even spoken. It's not because you don't belong. It's because you are carrying questions and emotions that the world oftentimes does not understand and does not know how to make space for. This part is the quiet truth that most people don't acknowledge. While people around you have slipped into their expected chapters, parenting, schedules, playdates, you're doing something right now that feels far more complex. You're rebuilding a blueprint for your future. You're piecing together meaning in a life that didn't go the way that you believed it would, and you're really trying to rewrite your identity in real time. And most people never have to do this level of introspective work. Most people don't have to ask themselves questions like, what do I want my life to look like now? Because they have not been where you are. It is seriously deep work. It is honest work. It is courageous work. And yes, that identity shift shows up oftentimes socially. So you can stop telling yourself that the distance you feel means something is wrong with you. For right now, it might just mean that you are evolving. And your people love you. They do. But they don't know how to talk about childlessness. They don't oftentimes know how to talk about infertility. They don't know how to talk about what it's like to have your heart broken in an outcome that you tried so hard to turn out differently than it did because the world doesn't teach anyone how. They don't know what questions feel supportive. They don't know what it's like to make you feel comfortable. They don't know when to lean in. They don't know when their curiosity crosses into assumptions. So they often default to one thing that feels predictable and safe to them. And that might be talking about their kids, telling you how lucky you are that you don't have to deal with kids who are unruly or what it's like to have sleepless nights because your kid was up the night before. But meanwhile, while they're telling you these things, you're sitting there holding grief, fear, decision fatigue, identity shifts, and this pressure to explain and maybe even justify yourself and the desire to feel connected without having to pretend. And of course, you feel disconnected sometimes. You can stop internalizing this awkwardness that you feel and this uncertainty you feel about yourself as a reflection of you. It is oftentimes a reflection of their skill and definitely not of your worth. So I want to give you 4 ways to lead in group situations with connection, even when the room feels tender. These aren't strategies to blend in. They are ways to anchor yourself so you can stay connected to you. And then from there, start to learn how to connect outwardly. So, number one, find one person in the room that you can connect with, not the whole room. You don't need to manage the entire group, but just find one person where presence feels steady. One genuine conversation might shift your whole experience so you can feel grounded instead of feeling overwhelmed. Number two, show up as the person you are today. You don't need to be who you were before you found out that creating a child was going to be such a challenge, and you don't need to be who people expect you to be. Share something real. Share something you're learning. Share things that bring you joy, something meaningful in your world right now. That way you can feel like you're showing up as a real human, not a muted version of yourself. Number three, act from your values, not from the script in the room. If you value honesty, be honest. If you value warmth, let that warmth come through. If you value curiosity, ask a question that opens up a real moment or a real exploration with someone. And do that so that you can feel aligned instead of feeling like you're trying to match a rhythm that is not yours. Number four, remember that your voice matters in your own life. This is the heart of Thrive After Infertility, my 12-week coaching program that if you haven't heard about, you absolutely need to learn about. I'll put a link to give you more information about Thrive After Infertility right here in the show notes. But what I do for my clients who work with me in Thrive is help you learn how to value your own voice, not the voice of the expectations around you, your voice that settles your nervous system. So that way you can stop scanning for approval and connection becomes easier because you are not abandoning yourself and your experiences to fit in. And that way you can walk into any room as the woman you are becoming, not the one that you think you need to be to fit in. So if you find yourself feeling a little bit out of place as the holidays are coming upon us and these social gatherings are on the books and things you can't avoid, like work Christmas parties or maybe your girls' gift exchange, I want you to find yourself not feeling out of place when you are around people you love, but feeling as though you belong. Please let this be your reminder that nothing about you is lacking. You're not behind. You're not invisible. The decisions that you have made are valued, even if you are the only one who understands why adoption doesn't feel right for you or why a biological child is the outcome that you wanted for yourself. It is okay to look at yourself as someone who knows what was best for you, even if somebody gives you a million and one suggestions or asks you or tells you things like you can always adopt, pray harder, or they tell you about the person who just relaxed and they got pregnant. I want you to remember that you're navigating a chapter that requires self-trust. It requires honesty and solidarity with yourself that most people might not understand. And the more you honor who you are and who you are becoming, the easier it is going to feel for you to connect with yourself and connect with others in a way that does not require you to shrink or to pretend. So keep this on repeat. Listen to this episode as many times as you need to let yourself know that you always have a place in every room. And sometimes you are going to be the one to create it. So I hope you have a beautiful week. I love you. And remember that it's never too late to discover your meaning. I'll talk to you next week. Hey, real quick, I just wanted to tell you about an awesome resource I created. If you have ever found yourself in conversations with people, or maybe people offering you suggestions about what you should do to become a mom, it's called the Top 27 Things People Say When You're Childless and How to Respond. You can get your copy free at lanamanikowski.com/things people say.